Hi there, welcome back to Bernama. Today, my guest in the studio with me is one that you do not want to mess with, nor physically, nor mentally. My guest is Sifu Wong, and he is, of course, a Wing Chun master. Welcome to the show, Sifu.
Right.
How are you today?
Thank you, Jess. Yeah, I'm great. Thank you.
Well, if you're wondering what exactly Wing Chun is, perhaps the movie Ip Man will remind you. If you're a fan of that, I think we are in the third episode of the movie sequel. This has a big following, and it's all based on the martial art called Wing Chun. And of course, Sifu Wong is a Wing Chun master for 7 generations.
Yes.
Is something that you have picked up on to tell us how you got involved with being, involved with Wing Chun and then becoming a master as well.
All right. Basically, I am a martial art fan since my younger years, thanks to Bruce Lee, of course. But of course, and after the movie Ip Man has been screened on television, it gives us a very big impact. You know, Wing Chun has been my all these wild childhood dreams onto pursuing into that. But of course, after the possibility has been opened up after the movie, especially, then I got the chance to get to know about Wing Chun, and I got into it since for the past 8 years, if I'm not mistaken, and I got hooked up all the way until today.
What makes Wing Chun different from other popular martial arts that we know of?
I mean, like all the other martial arts, they have their own specialties, of course, but what I would like to explore in Wing Chun is that it is more to like a conceptual arts. It is simple enough to learn, and it is easy enough to learn, and you don't need to have a big muscles or finesse for you to get into it. In fact, for ladies especially, is the most appropriate person to learn Wing Chun.
Right, they're the best candidate for this particular sport. Now, it's not just about physical, like you mentioned. It's also to do with a lot of fitness levels, also to do with mental discipline as well. So tell us about that aspect of this martial art.
Okay, right. That's why when you come to a traditional martial arts, especially when you come to the learning part, it is important for you to have a concept itself. So that is why we have came up with a concept that we try to teach it as a scientific methods. So like rather than you learn it as a move, you are learning it as a concept, so that you can apply it not only onto self-defense, but you can apply it onto a daily life activities as well. So how does those concept helps you in your discipline, in your determination, in your communication skills, and so, and also how do you apply that into a daily activities? That's what makes it interesting.
Definitely. I think for those of our viewers who are wanting to kickstart 2017 on a positive note, then perhaps this is one option that you can explore, the martial art called Wing Chun. What are its origins and history?
It traced back, I think, about 300 over years ago, back in southern Shaolin, China. And of course, Ip Man was not the only one who knows Wing Chun. He is one of the practitioners who've been brought up the name, thanks to Bruce Lee again, because of his fame. Indirectly, he brought up Ip Man to the market. And because of that, most of the lineages that in Wing Chun has been expanded worldwide, especially in China and also Hong Kong, again, thanks to Bruce Lee. And what I have gone through, I have gone through a few different teachers and schools in Malaysia, and so do Hong Kong as well. But what makes it the journey interesting is that Wing Chun, they have a lot of different schools that practices different philosophies and teachings, and also how to make it complete. That is why a concept that we are practicing in S.E.E.D Wing Chun combat system, we are accumulating and all those skills and concepts from any other martial art as well, and make it into a much more complete package.
Right, taking out the best from all the different types of philosophies and putting it all under one roof.
Exactly.
What is the current fan following of Wing Chun in Malaysia?
The trend, you mean? The trend will be like, I think most of it, they are encouraged from the movie. They get inspired from the movie. Hey, I want to look good as like in Donnie Yen in the movie, But of course, mainly it is for self-defense. It's for self-defense. But of course, for the corporate world, and as for in general, they like it as an activity of fitness. As for exercise, but at the same time, of course, they can learn about martial art and self-defense.
Are there a lot of people already doing Wing Chun in the country?
Yes, plenty of them are practicing Wing Chun, but a lot of them are not is an unofficial class.
We see you on the screen here with
Right.
a gadget. I'm not sure what this is.
That's what we call it, the wooden dummy.
Okay.
The wooden dummy is something that we can actually practice to conditions our hand and positionings and that. So we treat that as a sparring partner or practicing partner when we are alone at home. Yeah.
And how long should one training session or one class be?
Roughly, we are going to take about like an hour or two for a weekly sessions, you know, so in order for you to grab a new idea so that you can practice for the whole week before the next session continues. There you go, like those pictures there, this is where I did for some bank institution as an engagement program for them. So they treat it as an activities rather than you know, going for normal team building sessions or any gathering sessions. So this is something a bit healthy, as I said.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it has a balance between the physical aspect and, as you mentioned, the inner aspect, so the mental, the emotional aspect as well.
Yes.
So in one session, how do you balance that both out? Or say in one class, how much time is given for internal versus external?
I would say most of the time, I would guess maybe like 80% of the thing are physicals. So they are going to go through some movements and activities through physicals, and through those physicals we are going to explain that what you are going to achieve if you do it correctly and what you are going to have if you do it badly, you know, maybe it will affect your posture and stuff like that. Then only we relate it, how does it actually helps into your internal part, you know, how does it help in your daily lives, you know, does it helps in your posture, does it help in your the way you communicate, and also on how do you behave as a person itself.
Have you personally seen anyone go through that transformation?
Yes, in fact we have helped a lot of our organizations and also schools into producing for school, for instance, better students in terms of their disciplines, in terms of their attendance, in terms of their understanding as a person himself. So I would say it's a very good tools for us to apply into as a personal development aspect. Yeah.
Okay. Now, we mentioned something called S.E.E.D earlier. Perhaps you could tell us about that a little bit more. And there's also something called the 5 ancestors.
Oh yes, S.E.E.D is actually a concept. That's why we call ourselves is a S.E.E.D Wing Chun combat system, rather than we call it as Yip Man Wing Chun or My Wing Chun whatsoever. It's a concept that we try to teach. That is our core concept in our teaching. S.E.E.D actually stands for simplicity of approach, effectiveness of body mechanics, efficiency of energy, and dynamics of response. So those are the 4 main core concepts in our teachings. So whatever we do in our class, it has to adhere to these 4 concepts here. That is why 5 ancestors comes into picture to make it more complete. Now, talking about 5 ancestors, or 5 ancestors, maybe it is not so well known as Wing Chun as we all know. 5 ancestors is a traditional Chinese martial art way back in the southern Shaolin area. So the root, it actually goes back same as Wing Chun as well from southern Shaolin. So what we try to accomplish is that in 5 ancestors, it gives you more internal views, like how do you use your internal energy to create more energy. So we complement those kind of a concept inside S.E.E.D Wing Chun and makes it more even complete. So you have your external moves, your external energy, and your internal energy, which is very, very important.
It is very important. But how relevant do you think these ancient teachings are in this day and age, when everyone's sort of caught up in the rat race, rushing and you know, filled with other problems and distractions?
Yes. That's why we came up with the concept. Yeah, it is no more a traditional approach of learning martial art or learning Wing Chun anymore, whereby traditional martial art you might need to take quite a number of years for you to get to master certain moves or even certain things. But in the recent concept that we came up with, especially the S.E.E.D, whatever that we do, it is based on the concept itself. So through the understanding of the concept, every movement will be explained through science and physics. It is not through you know, the olden days, or my teacher taught me like that, I teach you like that, you just do it.
So it's not just art, but there's a scientific explanation to it all.
You need to understand, because like people nowadays are getting smarter, you know, when they learn, you know, why should I do this and why should I do that and what is this for and what is that for. So without that logical or scientific explanation to that, you might not be able to generate that kind of interest in the students. So that is why we came up with the concept and we teach that through the concept. So whatever that we thought is usable, like example the 5-inch gesture, which is very useful, so we incorporate to in and we teach it as a concept.
What would you say the movements are like? If I was to imagine what Wing Chun is like, is it a lot like Taekwondo or Karate, or is it different?
No, Wing Chun is actually a short, we call it a short close quarter combat, whereby if, let's say for example, in order for someone to reach you or hurt you, they need to get close to you in order for them to touch you. So we can actually use Wing Chun in those very tiny places, like in an elevator, like in a phone booth, like in the back alley and stuff like that. It is more onto a very fast-paced movement using mostly hands, okay, but of course we can use leg as well. So that's why it is very applicable and very useful, especially for the ladies, where you don't have that big muscles for you to defend against yourself. So that is why we are going to use body mechanics, which is the second concept in S.E.E.D.
Right. So the movements, you would say, are very swift,
very
fast.
small and fast. Yes.
Which is perfect for ladies if you're looking to pick up a new skill or a new art. Well, we'll take a quick breather. When we come back, we'll be talking more to Sifu Wong, who is a Wing Chun master, and of course the martial art called Wing Chun. Stay tuned. There you go. That was the S.E.E.D Wing Chun combat system. My guest in the studio with me is Sifu Wong, who is of course a Wing Chun master. I did see the movements there. They were very swift and close range.
Yes, and effective.
And effective. Yes, I can imagine the pain there. There's also something known as internal art. Perhaps you could tell us about that.
Internal art is what I adapted from the 5-inch gesture Kung Fu. So this is all about realization of our own body, because like our body has been with us for so many years, but we might never notice that, hey, I can actually use this part of my body to perform this kind of energy. So which part of a tendons to use, which group of muscles to use, which type of joints that you should align to one another. So that is what we call about the effectiveness of body mechanics, which is the second concept in S.E.E.D. So in accommodate to that, we are not only learning moves exteriorly, so we are going to accompany with our internal performance. It's just like, imagine there's a small car, but a very powerful engine inside. So the performance of the car, of course, is going to be escalated compared to the original car of that.
Right, so a modified engine,
to say.
Okay, so you did mention that a lot of times the philosophy and the teachings, the art behind this are very helpful for those in corporations or organizations, and that's where you have introduced Wing Chun into this area, into corporate, where you're a corporate trainer as well.
Yes.
How exactly does it help groups and organizations?
All right, all this while I've been being a corporate trainer. So being a corporate trainer, of course, you need to stand out on your own. You got to be special. Most of the time our clients came back, you don't want to do a team building, you want something interesting, you want something new. So I've thought, since I teach Wing Chun, and why don't I use Wing Chun as an activity to incorporate into my session for corporates? So which is eventually, I think it is very interesting, whereby you can use a Wing Chun as an activity in order for you to bring out how does a group of people tend to work together, because there are certain movements in Wing Chun that you cannot do alone. You need to have a help from the other colleagues or another training partner in order for you to perform to its optimum peak. So that is why I use Wing Chun as a tool for me to do corporate training. So that is my main approach that I would like to introduce to the corporate world.
So it can introduce things like teamwork?
Yes, teamwork, and also personal development mainly, and of course you talk about communication skills as well. How do you communicate with each other in order for you to have this proper teamwork in the team by using a Wing Chun as a tool.
You would assume that given all this added elements of the soft skills as well, that it would be something cut out for children or kids and maybe even youth.
Yes, we don't really recommend kids to join that much. The reason is because Wing Chun is an art for self-defense mainly. We are not learning how to dance. So when we talk about self-defense, there will be a certain level of conditioning to your hands and probably to your body that needs to be done. And we try to avoid those bruises everywhere in kids, where the parents come and complain and all this stuff. So we try to avoid this kind of stuff. But youth will be okay. The challenge with youth is that probably their level of focus and concentration was not there yet. So we always recommend and suggest to the parents, if you would like your children to have an introduction to this Wing Chun lessons to your children, preferably you as a parent should join too in the class. So indirectly you became like a practicing partner at home after the class, so more common topics to talk about.
That's a great idea.
A great bonding
and good
activity.
Quality time as
Exactly.
well spent. Now, what is your view, having been involved in Wing Chun for the past 8 years, you're also a master. What do you think of the community, the Wing Chun community in Malaysia? I'm sure you have a vision to see it get developed and more popular.
Yes, the Wing Chun community, especially in Malaysia, it is a little bit sparse. So everyone is there teaching everywhere. So my point of view is that it is good that we can kind of collaborate with one another. But the challenge is that a few certain schools, which is a little bit traditional, they are more close, enclosed. They try not to spread out the arts that much compared as what we're trying to do here. So I would say my wish, if we can collaborate with one another, it will be a good advantage for the Wing Chun community to grow and expand.
In the next 5 years, short-term view, so to say.
In the next 5 years, my dream, I would love to share this with the Western country, especially because, as we understand, in the Western countries, their learning mentality is very good, but unfortunately, probably they don't get the right channel for them to learn about this. So it is going to be my honor to be able to share my knowledge with them. It will be great.
It will be great, definitely. Well, still date, what is the biggest project you've been involved with?
Oh yes, we have just launched our first in Asia project, which is whereby we have this instructional video of Wing Chun in 360.
Okay.
The recent trend of the virtual
but you said
reality.
in Asia, which means that in all of Asia there hasn't been any thing like this before.
No. Of course, they have instructional videos in there, but instructional video in 360, we are the first one at the moment.
Okay, all
at the moment. So it is to give you a feel of being in the class. It's just like live. If you wear the goggles, you feel like it's alive. Of course, it's an instructional video. Everything will be explained in detail, now how you should do this move and that, and at the same time, you can have the feel of what are your classmates are doing on your sides and back of you as you turn around. So you can tend to get this alive feeling. So we use technology into teaching as well.
Is it that simple that one can sort of learn from a video?
Learning is easy, but to master is very tough. very tough. You need a lot of practice. You need a lot of time to be spent in practice rather than into the class itself. Because like in the class, it's just about like maybe 2-hour sessions a week or two. So it is for you to just get a new idea so that you can practice for the whole week before the next class. Okay, it's supposed to be like that. But the challenge here is that, you know, people has been caught up in the rat race. They're busy, they have a lot of commitments and stuff. So practicing time is really not enough for them to get to what it's supposed to be. So that is why we try to use the use of technology here to help them encourage them to practice more at home.
It's homework. You got to do your homework,
right?
Still. Okay, now as a Sifu, as a master, of course, you must have had your own idol or someone that you looked up to as well. Who is that person?
Okay, I don't really idolize much, but I really appreciate the works that who actually crafted me, who am I today. Of course, a few individuals I would like to thank, like my teacher in 5 ancestor, Master Yap Bo Hyung. So like Mr. Ben Shu, who actually pulled me into 5 ancestor. If not, I would be still myself. Okay, so without them, I won't be who I am today.
How have you changed though?
I have changed to a perceptions whereby I used to have this perception whereby, oh, Wing Chun is one of the best martial art that I've learned. You know, I can do a lot of stuff. I can the theme line in Yip Man movie, I want to fight with 10, you know. So that is the tagline. But until the day I have met Mr. Ben Shu and he pulled me into 5 Winchester, everything changed. Everything changed from my perspective, from my understanding. I feel like my level of knowledge is just so little compared to what he has shown me. I said, what? You have this kind of thing? I thought this kind of thing we only can see in the olden kung fu movies, you know, where you have all those whoosh whoosh sound, all those sound effects. I thought it was just sound effect. I said, no, this is real. I said, really?
It's real? It's not
it's real. It's real.
Motion effects?
No, it's not. It's real. So that is why I was so impressed, and I was so thankful to these few individuals who have given me a chance to get into 5 Manchester and just blend it up with my knowledge in Wing Chun, and it makes it so great. The journey is just excellent.
A wonderful journey so far. What would your message be to our viewers watching today considering picking up Wing Chun?
It's a must for everyone, I would say, to pick up Wing Chun, because like you might say, no, I don't need to know self-defense, I don't need to know Kung Fu, but everyone needs to stay safe. But the question is, are we doing enough for us to stay safe? Like what I always say, you know, in order for you to stay safe, you need to stay safe, stay tuned, let's learn Wing Chun.
Stay safe, stay tuned.
Let's learn Wing Chun.
Wing Chun, I like that. Okay, there's also a website that you'd like to share?
Yes, we have our website on wkwlive1.wix.com/SEED, or we even have a Facebook page. You can just search under S.E.E.D Wing Chun, S-E-E-D for S.E.E.D Wing Chun. So all our pictures, videos, updates, interview and CSR projects that we did, we are going to post it up onto our Facebook page, and also we can actually communicate through that. For everyone to share and learn together. And very quickly, you have 2 centers that of course facilitate these classes. Tell us about that. To facilitate these classes, okay, probably I will skip that one first. Okay, we'll keep that. Not for now, but anyway, for more information on how and when you can learn Wing Chun, you can always log on to the Facebook page and find out more information from there, and keep abreast with is that 360 video also available on the Facebook page? Yes, it is on our Facebook page as well. Alright, thank you so much, Sifu Wong, for being on the show and sharing with us. I would call this a secret, perhaps a treasure that not many of us know about. That's all the time we have on the show today. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it locked on to Bernama News Channel for more. See you later. Bye bye.